Let's try. So we have two shittas, two views, two opinions regarding the oir of the sphirot is the atzilus. Whether the oir itself also has an identity with spheros, or the oir itself is totally above that, above any kind of defining element. And the sphira is when the oir comes together with the keili, and the keili is that which affects a union of sphira in the oir. And therefore, okay, we'll start on the line that begins with vechessed. Again, that is 5 lines from the end of that section that begins with yeshleimer. We have to start at some point. So in the middle of that line, imkain. Because we said that the oir also has an element of the defining element of chesed and of spheres, chesed and gvura. Except that legabe, relative to the keilim, it's called brima. But really, inherently, it does have a point of reference. Imken, and therefore, as spheres hagnuzois, we'll go through this and we'll try to put things in perspective as much as possible. As spheres hagnuzois, the spheres as they are golus. Golus means in the treasure, in the original source. Shalamayla mehorshimu, that which is above the reshimu, which means it's before the tzimtzum. Heim shoreshay ha'oirais, there's a sphirot atzilus. These sphirot agnuzos, these are the roots of the oir of sphirot atzilus. Aval ha'oir in soif atzmoi, but the oir in soif itself, sphirot agnuzos means sphirot are contained within the oir. But oir in soif itself, afilu ha'oir v'hagilu min ha'atzmus. I'll try to put this in perspective, but first let's learn inside and listen to the words. Even that which is oir and gilui from atzmus, shehu b'vchinas gilui ha'atzmus, which is in the quality, in the category of being referred to as gilui ha'etzem, the gilui of the etzem, not the etzem itself. So the oir in soif which is b'chinas gila min ha'etzem, harei mufshad legamri menhus es sphirot. That is totally mufshad, is totally devoid of any definition, even of any kind of sphirot. Ve'ein yishayach shom b'chinas sphirot klal. And there, the union of sphirot is totally not applicable. So there are many things, and these words are a very engaging pupil among scholars. Just want to point to a very clear thing, that something that we can really relate to. Etzem, again, etzem is a principle which is impossible to grasp in seichel. As we said many times, seichel can only grasp that which has boundaries. Etzem defies boundaries. It does not have boundaries. It's not made of any kind. It doesn't consist of any kind of a presence. You say here it is and here it is not. Like we quote always from Rambam, to know that there is a first being. A first being means a being that has no beginning, no boundary. This is the real thing itself. To put it in terms that we can kind of get a handle on it. God created the world. There is no explanation whatsoever as to what enticed God to create the world. It's a pure creation. That's yesh mi'ayin. It's a godly creation, and it's a godly decision to create the world. And the world thus represents the godly decision that doesn't present any kind of a worldly basis. And as we are discussing the whole time from Oiris, in Oiris also there is that element. They're on different levels. But there's also that element, which is a pure reality. There is no compelling element, a circumstantial element that demands that it should be this way or that way. So the oir ein soif atzmoi. This is the oir gila minho atzmus. We say that there is eses sphirot hagnuzos, the contained eses sphirot, and then there is the etzem, and there is the oir hagila minho etzem. The way that this is described in Chassidus is as follows. The best way that we can relate to the etzem, to the source, is even the midas hamalchus, a melech. A melech does not, the Melech affects his subjects, his country, not by getting involved and by defining what the country should look like. This is up to the ministers. The Melech creates a country by simply agreeing to be Melech. This agreeing to be Melech, that already provides justification for there being a country. What is this Inyan being a Melech? Again, you have to kind of focus in on the reality of a Melech. Being a Melech is not merely a tax collector and slave driver. That is a complete misdirection of the principle. A Melech, as we already learned many times, a Melech is the one who provides a sense and a value to his country, to the people. Once there is that inyan of a Melech, then everything comes into being, everything develops. Even within the human experience itself, every individual to himself, there is a moment in a person's personal experience where he loses interest in anything. He can go and be successful and do this and do that. Why should I? This question, why should I, is a direct statement that he is lacking the sense of his own reality. The inyan of Malchus exists in every human being. It's personal Malchus. But he has a sense of reality. And therefore to pursue that which is beneficial and good does not need a justification. Although it entails getting out of bed and entails working and pursuing and running, he's totally oblivious to all the effort. He's on a higher plane. It's an expression of his own reality. He's for real. The similar inyan, there is the inyan of atzmus, and there is the gilahu etzem, the oyer shel gilahu etzem. Oyer shel gilahu etzem, as we said just now, does not provide any justification, explanation, and reasons for what follows, what comes out. Because it's gilahu etzem. It's a gilu of reality itself. Thank you very much. So in that oil, and he says, even that which is keili mehoatzmus, which means it's not the etzem itself, it's a keili from the etzem. And this is why I started talking about the Melin HaMelech. And that is that the Melech, the fact that he accepted to be Melech, is already a step down from his essential being. In essence, he is totally above being expressing himself. And that's why, as Chassidus explains, in order to elicit from the Melech the will to be Melech, there has to be a whole effort on the part of the people who want him to be Melech. And that effort arouses and triggers, brings out from the Melech his will to be Melech. But essentially, he is completely above it. So therefore, these are the words over here. Gilu minhu atzmus. This is when it's already a gilu from the etzem. It's not the level of etzem itself. It's a gilu from the etzem. The oir insoif, as it comes at the beginning, is gilu hu etzem. It is in the sense of gilu hu etzem. It's megala what the etzem is. So even though it's gilu, but the reihu mufshut legamri memhus as sphirot. That is totally mufshut, that is totally devoid, removed from mahus as sphirot, from any kind of reality of as sphirot. To put it in perspective of what we said just now, there is no way to conceptualize that oir. Is it Chochmah? Is it Bina? What is it? There's no way to conceptualize that. Ve'eino yishayach shom b'china sfiras klal. There, the beginning of Sphira is totally in a shaykh. Doesn't belong there. It does not have any means by which to identify it. Everything in the world, everything in existence has a beginning, and the fact that Beis created it. But I just said before, what entices Elohim to create, that is completely beyond grasp, beyond access. This is what we've encountered. Shtoik kachol b'machshov. There's an element beyond any kind of a keili. And that is what's being provided in the creation. The reishis. This is why to accept the Torah, which comes from Elohim, from Meibushin himself, it was not possible with any kind of an approach of comprehension. It had to be by Nasa v'nishma. And the miracle of it all is, in terms of Matan Torah, this is a very pertinent statement. The Torah does not tell us right from wrong and leave it up to us how to express it, how to act upon it. Torah says specifically, do this. It creates the entire entity. It gives us the entire entity, because leave it up to the seichel to discern based on this truth how you should act. You would lose the whole principle of it. Okay, let's continue. There's a sphirot hagnuzois. And here there is a parenthetical comment, which is actually correcting whatever it could be, something misspelled or whatever it is, correcting an expression which is meaningful. The efshar tzorich leiman versus sphirot dailychassidus. As a sphirot hagnuzois, here he is not referring to as a sphirot hagnuzois. He's referring to as a sphirot dailychassidus, as a sphirot that is the source of oilus. Because in Yatzim Hoy there is no sphirot at all. It's not even a shoreshay for the oilus. As a sphirot dailychassidus, that's a sphirot of oilus. Hein nikroim bli ma ubli gvul. They are called bli ma and bli gvul, and without limit. Legava yes sphirot the kelim shenesom yashir. Relative to the sphirot of the kelim that come from the Rishim. Because as a sphirot of oilus, let's continue. This is what we're doing. Ki ha'oilus natural, because the oilus would draw mimem shuch mihoye shelamayla me'oshimu. The oilus come from the oil that are above the Rishim, above the tzimtzum. Shemimenu nimshach hakav. From where the kav is drawn, the oil which is above the Rishim, as we learned that the kav comes from the oil that is reintroduced after the tzimtzum. So although this is the oil, but legabe oil isayif atzmai, in comparison relative to oil in safe itself. Oil in safe itself means the oil in safe, as we said, gili ho'etzem. Hem gam kein shoreshay u'mokir hagvul. Shoreshay u'mokir hagvul. There is the union of gvul. Okay, we'll continue on. Maybe we'll revisit and make points on this thing. Based on this, which we discussed till now, Yesh l'taretz, we can also justify and rectify a problem. Mashalechoyre in move and that which appears to be not understandable, which is the bezeyer or beidra, because in zeyer and nira it appears she'atig humamash mehuser atzmusi. that Atik is Mehusa v'atzmusa means Atzmus itself. We always speak about sphirot atzilus, and then there is Atik and Arich, which is above sphirot, above atzilus. The Atik, it says, is mamash Mehusa v'atzmus. V'imkein yumshach yiksha, and thus it becomes difficult to understand. Madua ho Arizal Omar. Why did the Arizal say sheish kamo bechines l'maylo v'atik? That there are many bechines, many aspects that are above Atik. All right. I think we have to be selective a little bit here. All right, let's interrupt. I'll just have to make a decision where we're going with this.